Despair doesn't knock anymore. It lives here. It wears fitted hats, sips lean, hums into auto-tune, and dares God to stop the beat. One name rose from the ash and rot of Kensington, Pennsylvania: Skrilla. His songs went viral. His smile got darker. And now, the kids don't say hi anymore. They say 6, 7. They tag it on walls. They chant it in hallways. They post it under every video like it's scripture. No one knows what it really means. But I do. I was there before the meme, before the music, before the offering. When Skrilla still walked like a man, not a message. I thought I was volunteering to save lives. But in Kensington, I saw what it looks like when a soul is sold in slow motion. People call it the place you don't come back from. Not because of a curse, not some local myth, just reality. Kensington swallows people whole, no body, no story, no justice. Just a corner store that stops stocking your favorite chips. A shelter bed that doesn't need a name anymore. And I still went back. Every week. I was a second-year med student at Temple when I signed up to volunteer with a mobile clinic, serving the unhoused and uninsured in Kensington. Most of my classmates avoided it like radiation, but I wasn't most of them. I grew up here, 3 blocks from where the cracked pavement turns black from burned tires. 5 blocks from the underpass with the baby stroller that's always there, no matter who pushes it. It's where I learned to run, to keep my head down, to pretend gunshots were fireworks I left to chase something clean. But you never really leave a place like Kensington. It stains your blood, your speech, the way your stomach tenses when a car door slams too hard. So I came back. Not because it was safe, it wasn't, because these were my people. We handed out insulin in hot parking lots, wrapped infected feet in the shadows of train tracks. I memorized which corners had the girls who couldn't make eye contact anymore. I knew which makeshift tents had kids inside and which ones reeked of something worse than drugs. And still, something had shifted. It started subtle. A patient came in with symbols carved into his arms. Said they were protection, not self-harm. A woman we'd helped every Friday stopped showing up. When we found her, she was crouched in an alley, whispering to something in a shoebox. It was empty. The staff stopped joking. Even the hardened ones started looking over their shoulders. They said something was moving in Kensington. No one said what, just something. And that's when I heard the name, Skrilla. It came up like a cough, something no one wanted to say too loud. You seen Skrilla yet? Watch out for that one. He ain't like the others. I thought he was just another local dealer. Maybe a SoundCloud rapper with delusions of divine inspiration. But then I met him. It was a Wednesday. The air was thick with vinegar and fried meat from the pop-up food tent across the lot. I was restocking a crate of EpiPens when someone said, "He's here." I looked up. There he was, calm, composed, like he walked in slow motion. Black hoodie, no jewelry, no entourage, just eyes that didn't blink enough. He came up to the table like he belonged there, picked up a glucose monitor and turned it over in his hand like it was something sacred. "You the doctor?" I shook my head. "Not yet, just a student." He smiled, slow and dry. "That's all right. You still healing people." Something about his voice made my stomach fold in on itself. He looked around the lot like it was all a joke, kids running barefoot, volunteers hustling, a man yelling at the sky. "You trying to keep people alive," he said, still smiling. "I'm trying to do the opposite." He laughed like it was a clever punchline no one else did. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing his voice in my head. Not loud, not scary, just present. Like a radio left on in the next room, I told myself I was just tired, that I'd seen worse, that trauma echoes, especially in neighborhoods built like graveyards. But I'd soon realize he wasn't joking, and I should have never looked him in the eyes. Early 2025 weeks after I met Skrilla, I started hearing his music. Not on purpose, it just drifted. From cracked phone speakers, passing cars, loose earbuds on the El Same beat every time, slow, hypnotic, almost underwater. The words weren't clear at first, but the feeling was empty, cold, like someone humming over an open grave. Then the kids started saying it. 6-7. At first I thought it was an area code, then maybe a new block code or slang for something I hadn't caught up to. But they weren't saying it like it meant location. They said it like a spell, like something to be repeated, not understood. One afternoon at the pop-up clinic, a girl no older than 9 limped in with her older brother. Her knee was scraped raw. I gave her water, asked what happened. She just smiled and whispered, 6-7. The brother laughed like it was a joke I wasn't in on, but her eyes didn't blink. That was the first time I wrote the phrase down in my notebook. That was also the day Skrilla showed up again. He didn't speak at first, just watched us pack up folding tables and load up the cooler. Then he walked over, hands in his hoodie pockets, and nodded toward the back of the lot. You got 5 minutes? I didn't. I had rounds, but I followed anyway. We cut behind a boarded up laundromat, then slipped into a narrow alleyway that reeked of bleach and burned plastic. At the end of it was a rusted green door. He opened it without a key. Inside was a single room, cracked linoleum floor, waxy candlelight, smell of old incense and something metallic like rust and blood. The windows were sealed shut with aluminum foil. There were no chairs, no furniture, just an altar. At first glance, I thought it was a cultural shrine, offerings of food, feathers, copper coins. But then I saw the pot. It was black, cast iron, old. Inside, floating in murky water, were folded scraps of paper and shoelaces, and what looked like a baby's tooth. He saw me staring. That's called an nganga, he said. It listen, it respond. To who? He smiled. To whoever feeds it. He walked over, picked up a slip of paper, held it out to me. You want to try? I shook my head. What is this? A name? You drop it in, you speak what you want. Maybe they disappear. Maybe they just bleed for a few days. Depends how hungry it is. You're joking. He leaned in close. Ain't nobody ever joking in Kensington. Then he dropped the name into the pot. The water didn't ripple. It pulled the paper down like it wanted it. That night, I had my first dream. I was standing in the middle of Allegheny Avenue, empty, silent. No cars, no people. Just rows of boarded windows watching me like eyes. In the distance, I heard whispering. Not one voice, but many. They were all saying the same thing. 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. I turned around, Skrilla was there, standing barefoot in the middle of the street, shirtless, his chest covered in markings I didn't understand. Eyes black, not like pupils, like absence, like someone had scooped out his soul and filled the sockets with oil. Behind him stood a figure, tall, shadowed, wrapped in feathers and rope. I couldn't see its face, but it had too many arms, and every arm held a shoe. They were all mine. I woke up gasping, sheets soaked, heart racing like I'd just outrun something real. I checked my feet, salt, at the base of the bed, a ring of it, like someone had circled me in the night. I didn't sleep again for 2 days. At the clinic that Friday, we got the news. Malik, one of our youngest volunteers, pre-med undergrad from North Philly, had died in his sleep. No signs, no trauma, just gone. The official cause was cardiac arrest, but he was 21, no history, no warnings. I remembered what Skrilla had said about feeding the pot. I remembered the slip of paper. And I remembered that Malik was the only one who'd ever made fun of Skrilla out loud, called him witch doctor in a hoodie. That afternoon, I skipped my rounds, I went back to the alley. The green door was locked now, fresh padlock. A goat skull hung from the handle. A kid watched me from the sidewalk, maybe 10 years old. He pointed to the lock, then whispered, 6, 7. The week Malik died, Kensington changed. Not physically, The streets were still cracked open like old scars. The alleys still breathed trash and danger. The L still rattled like a dying animal stretching over the neighborhood. But spiritually, something shifted. The air got heavier. Conversations got quieter. Kids stopped running in packs and started moving in pairs, whispering. And Skrilla was everywhere. His music hit 1 million views on YouTube, then 5 million, then 20. Nobody knew why his songs were blowing up so fast. Nobody questioned it either. They just started saying 6, 7, more, louder, almost like the phrase was gaining energy, on buses, in shelters, even in the clinic waiting line. We treated a man with a fresh knife wound who mumbled 6, 7 through a dry throat as we stitched him. A teenage girl came in with an infected tattoo, the numbers 6 and 7 intertwined like a serpent eating itself. A toddler in a stroller repeated it under his breath like a lullaby. But what scared me wasn't the phrase itself. It was the rhythm. Every time someone said it, it had the exact same cadence as Skrilla's voice, like they weren't repeating slang, they were repeating a command. The night his video crossed 30 million views, I was walking home from a late anatomy lab. My head was stuffed with diagrams of thoracic cavities, heart valves, nerve pathways, things that made sense, things I could measure and trust. Then I saw it. A shoe hanging from a telephone wire, nothing unusual, but tied to the laces was a small folded scrap of paper. My stomach knotted. I crossed the street and stood under it. The paper swung in the cold wind like a lazy pendulum. I didn't need to open it to know it held a name. 2 days later, he showed up at the clinic again. But this time, he wasn't alone. 2 men stood behind him. One tall and thin with a shaved head, the other rounder, expressionless, carrying a duffel bag that made a soft clinking sound with each step. They weren't from Kensington. They didn't look scared enough. Skrilla walked straight to me. "You look tired," he said. "I'm fine." "You lying?" He grinned. "But that's okay. I can help you sleep." "I don't want anything from you. You already took something," he whispered. My heartbeat stuttered. "What does that mean?" He didn't answer. He stepped past me, brushed my shoulder with the back of his hand, and my skin crawled like something had burrowed under it. Then he turned back. "You coming tonight?" "Coming where?" "To the prayer." "I'm not, it ain't optional," he said, but he said it softly, like a father telling a child to hold his hand while crossing the street. Then he walked away. I wasn't going. I told myself that the whole afternoon, told myself again during my walk home, told myself 5 more times while sitting on the bus. But when I got off at Somerset Station, I didn't turn toward my apartment. I turned toward the alley with the green door. Not because I wanted to, because something in me felt pulled there, like a thread was tied to my ribs and someone was tugging it gently but firmly, guiding me 1 step at a time. The padlock was gone. The door was open a crack. Candles flickered inside like fireflies. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was different this time, cleaner, warmer, almost inviting. The altar was still there, but now it glowed, literally glowed. With this strange amber light that didn't feel like reflection, it felt alive. The Nyanga pot sat in the center, bubbling even though nothing underneath it was burning. Skrilla knelt beside it, shirtless, muttering words I didn't recognize. 3 others knelt in a circle. The 2 men from before, and a woman with a shaved head and scarred arms. They were humming in low tones, a sound like bees vibrating in a jar. When Skrilla lifted his head, his eyes weren't black like in my dream. They were worse. They were gold, like molten metal, like something forged in a place human hands didn't belong. He smiled when he saw me. "You on time," he said. "Good, we can start." "I don't want to be here." He motioned for silence. The humming stopped. Even the pot went still. "You think I'm forcing you," he said, "but you walked here on your own." "Did I?" "You did." He tapped his chest. "Something in you called something in me. And now, we both answering." His words felt wrong, like they bypassed my ears and went straight to some deeper layer of me. "What do you want from me?" I asked. He stood, walked closer and pressed 2 fingers to my forehead. I expected heat. I felt cold, a cold so deep it cracked through bone. "You want to save people," he whispered. "I want to take souls, but not everyone can do what they're born for." "What are you talking about?" He stepped back and grabbed the duffel bag. He opened it. Inside were shoes, dozens of them. Different sizes, brands, colors, men's shoes, women's shoes, children's shoes. Each pair had a name tagged to the laces, names of people I knew, people from the clinic, people from Kensington. And one name I recognized immediately, mine. My throat tightened. My hands went numb. "What is this?" "An offering," he said. "You drop a name, you speak the words, the spirit handle the rest. But some people don't need to drop the name. Some people just got to say the number." I stepped back. "No." "You sure?" He lifted my shoe from the bag. "You say 6-7 once. That's it. You be clean, protected, untouchable. A doctor that never loses a patient. A man that never loses." My chest pulsed with adrenaline. "Why me?" He chuckled low and slow. "Because you the only one here who don't belong to nobody yet." The dream returns. That night I dreamed again. Kensington was on fire. Cars melting, streetlights collapsing. The sky bleeding red like sunset was drowning. People ran screaming, but they weren't looking for help. They were looking for me, whispering my name, begging, reaching. And behind them stood the shadowed figure again, taller now, wrapped in feathers and rope, holding a shoe with my name on it. Skrilla stood beside it. His voice echoed through the burning streets. "Say it. Say 6-7. Say it, and you live." I tried to scream. Nothing came out. When I woke, my mouth tasted like candle smoke. My bedside lamp was shattered, and salt, again, circled my bed like a protective barrier. But something new was there too. A footprint, pressed into the salt. A barefoot print, not mine. The next morning, the city found a body under the L tracks. Young, male, heart failure, quiet, polite, loved basketball. I froze when I heard it. I had seen his name on one of the tags in Skrilla's duffel bag. Someone had dropped him into the pot. That night I heard knocking on my apartment door. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps again. When I opened it, no one was there. Just a shoebox. Inside, a single slip of paper. My name, my birth date, and underneath it, last chance, 6-7. I didn't open the shoebox again. Didn't touch it. Didn't breathe near it. Didn't even throw it away. I just packed a duffel, sent a mass text to the volunteer group, and said I wouldn't be coming back to Kensington. No explanation, no goodbyes. I left the box sitting on the kitchen counter like it had rights, like it had earned a place there. Maybe it had, but before I could fully cut myself off, I needed closure. Or maybe I needed confirmation that I wasn't crazy, that I didn't hallucinate a gold-eyed man offering me protection through a number, that I hadn't just watched a demon wear a local rapper like a hoodie. So I went back one more time, just once, one last shift. I told myself I was just dropping off supplies at the mobile clinic, a fast in and out. I didn't even wear my scrubs. I dressed like I didn't care. Hoodie, hat, plain face. But the minute I stepped off the bus, the neighborhood saw me, like it remembered me. The wind felt thicker. Kids stopped and stared. Someone whispered, "That's him." And then I heard it, louder than before, from a passing car, from 2 teenagers on a porch, from the old woman sweeping her stoop who never used to speak. 6-7, 6-7, 6-7, like a prayer, like a warning. I didn't make it to the clinic because Skrilla was already there, not at the lot, on the roof of the abandoned church across the street. He was shirtless again, face painted in red and white. Smoke curled around his feet, but there was no fire, just incense, or something like it, something older. He was pacing in wide circles, barefoot, muttering and laughing. And then he stopped, looked directly at me like he'd been waiting. He lifted both arms to the sky and screamed, 6-7! The street stopped, not slowed, stopped. A man mid-step froze. A woman stopped pushing her stroller mid-roll. Even the pigeons on the roof paused like statues. Only I moved, only I could. I felt it. The ground didn't shake, but my stomach did. Something was here. Something answering. Then I saw it. Behind Skrilla, in the shadow of the bell tower. Something hunched, massive, crouched like a gargoyle made of smoke and teeth. It rose behind him, limbs too long, skin like rotted oil, no face but endless mouths across its chest. And yet it didn't roar. It breathed slow, calm, deep, like it had been meditating. And Skrilla smiled. Now they see, he shouted. Now they all see. People began to move again, but not like people. They twitched, marionettes, like strings were attached somewhere I couldn't see. They gathered below him like a choir, eyes glazed, mouths open, and all at once they chanted, 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. It wasn't a ritual, it was a coronation. And I had seen enough, I ran. Didn't speak, didn't turn around, didn't blink for 2 blocks. I don't even remember grabbing the Uber. I just remember getting in and saying, get me out of here. The driver looked at me through the rearview mirror like he understood, didn't say a word, just drove. Back home, I showered twice, scrubbed until my skin turned pink, lit a candle and read every psalm I could remember. But one verse wouldn't leave my head. Not the comforting kind, not the soft promises or warm reassurances. This one burned. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Mark 8:36. I thought about Skrilla, about the look in his eyes, about the people who followed him now, about the ones who didn't make it. Luis, Malik, the girl in the alley, maybe even me, if I'd said it just once. 6-7, 2 numbers, 1 soul, gone. I haven't been back to Kensington since. Not for a shift, not for groceries, not even to pass through. Some of my classmates think I'm weak, that I abandoned my people. Maybe they're right, but what I saw wasn't poverty. It wasn't addiction. It was hunger, not of the stomach, of the spirit. Something is feeding there, and Skrilla, he's not rapping anymore, he's conducting. Each beat is a heartbeat, each lyric is a leash. Each chant is another step towards something deeper, darker, something you can't undo. I saw him on YouTube last week. Different video, different energy. He wasn't laughing this time. He was staring straight at the camera. No shirt, black background, no beat. He leaned forward, smiled slightly and whispered, "You think this is a game? You think I made 6-7 up? Go ahead, say it, see what answers." Then the screen cut to black. I closed my laptop and prayed for the first time in weeks, not for success, not for safety, but for discernment. Because this world isn't just flesh. There are thrones we can't see, and some of them are hungry. You may think you're just vibing to a track, just reposting a sound, just saying 2 little words that everyone's saying now. But let me be clear, every chant is a contract. Every echo is a door. And every soul has a price. Even if you don't see who's paying, I will not return to Kensington. Not because I'm afraid of Skrilla, but because I still want my soul clean. There's power in that, and peace. If you've ever felt something shift when you hear the phrase 6-7, if your spirit ever tensed and you didn't know why, don't ignore it. Like, subscribe, and comment 6-7 just once. See who answers.